All right, let's dive straight into this. You've probably seen the news, and it's buzzing right now. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, are mobilizing for a huge protest in Washington, D.C., aimed at stopping the Nigerian delegation led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from polishing Nigeria's image during an international trip. The protest is being organized by IPOB members who are not happy with the ongoing situation back home and are making their voices heard on foreign soil. They claim that the Nigerian government, with its overseas trips, is focusing on building a positive image while ignoring the internal struggles, human rights issues, and political challenges that continue to affect the country, particularly in the southeastern region, which is where IPOB draws most of its support. IPOB has been very vocal about its intentions for Biafra, seeking independence for the southeastern part of Nigeria. They have been fighting for what they believe is the right to self-determination, as well as addressing long-standing issues of marginalization and injustice that they say the government has ignored for decades. Now, why Washington? Well, this is a key strategic move. The US is home to one of the largest Nigerian diasporas, and it's also a powerful stage for international protests. When you protest in the US, especially in the heart of its capital, you draw attention from global media, international organizations, and of course, government representatives who may take notice. The situation is more complex because just recently, President Tinubu, in an Independence Day speech, compared IPOB to extremist groups like Boko Haram. He claimed that IPOB shared similar traits with these groups, fueling more tension between the Nigerian government and IPOB supporters. This comparison sparked an outcry, especially among IPOB members and human rights organizations, both in Nigeria and abroad. Critics called out the president for using inflammatory rhetoric that they felt was misleading and unhelpful, especially when considering the ongoing trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, who has been in detention under controversial circumstances. Now, the reason why this protest is happening at this time is linked to what's going on in Washington. The delegation led by Tinubu is likely there for a combination of diplomatic and economic reasons. There's a push for better international relations, attracting foreign investment, and presenting a stable, progressive image of Nigeria to the world. This could involve meeting with investors, business leaders, or perhaps even appealing to the Nigerian diaspora for support. But to IPOB and their supporters, this trip represents nothing more than a polished, superficial effort to cover up the ongoing issues Nigeria is facing internally. For them, it's a way of saying, look, don't let the world see only what's on the surface. There's more going on underneath. The protest is expected to be massive. IPOB has urged its members in the US to take part, and you can bet that there will be significant media coverage. It's not just a protest, it's a message to both the Nigerian government and the international community. For IPOB, this is an opportunity to say, we will not be silenced, and we are not going to let you make everything look perfect while we are suffering. But the big question is, how will this affect Nigeria's diplomatic efforts? If this protest goes as planned, it could create some serious challenges for Nigeria's reputation abroad. The delegation's trip is all about presenting Nigeria as a stable, reforming country, ready for business and international cooperation. But if IPOB mobilizes thousands of people in Washington to disrupt that image, it could complicate things. US lawmakers, foreign media outlets, and global organizations might start asking tough questions. They'll want to know if Nigeria is truly stable or if the internal divisions are just being swept under the rug for the sake of diplomacy. There's also the matter of how the Nigerian government will respond to this protest. Will they attempt to control the narrative by downplaying the protest or dismissing it as a fringe issue? Or will they take the matter seriously and try to engage with the concerns of IPOB? Given the complexity of the issue, it's not going to be easy for the Nigerian government to simply brush it aside. At the same time, President Tinubu and his administration are trying to push forward with the reforms and projects that require international partnerships. A massive protest like this could send the wrong signals to potential investors and foreign partners. We also have to think about the implications for Nigerian Americans, especially those who support IPOB's cause. The protest could serve as a rallying point for the diaspora to come together
and have their voices heard on issues that directly affect them. Many in the diaspora feel disconnected from what's happening in Nigeria, but events like this can bring those issues into sharp focus. They see it as a chance to engage with the political landscape back home, make their opinions known, and perhaps even influence the outcome of future elections or political negotiations in Nigeria. At the same time, we can't ignore the potential for this protest to escalate. Whenever you have a large group of people with deeply held grievances, there's always the risk of things getting out of hand. While most protests are peaceful, history shows that high-profile protests in political capitals can sometimes lead to clashes, heightened tensions, and even media sensationalism. For IPOB though, the goal is clear: raise awareness, apply pressure, and demand change.
Whether or not that leads to any significant shift in Nigeria's policies remains to be seen, but the protest is a statement, one that will likely reverberate across global news networks. Let's not forget the role of the media in all of this. How will the Nigerian and international press cover the protest? Will they see it as a legitimate political statement or merely as an inconvenience to Nigeria's diplomatic efforts? It's going to be interesting to see how journalists and commentators around the world frame the event. For some, it may simply be another protest. For others, it will be a powerful symbol of Nigeria's internal struggles spilling over into the international stage. Now, there's also the idea of what this all means for the Nigerian government's long-term strategy.
If they continue to ignore groups like IPOB or simply dismiss their concerns as radical or unwarranted, there could be a significant backlash, both domestically and internationally. On the other hand, if they decide to engage more with IPOB's grievances or take steps to address some of the issues raised by separatist movements, it could help stabilize the situation. But that's a tricky balance to strike, and the stakes are high. Any misstep could further polarize Nigerian politics and make the country even more difficult to govern. In all of this, one thing is clear: the Nigerian government is walking a fine line. International appearances are crucial, but so are internal peace and justice. For Nigeria to truly move forward, the government will have to address both, carefully balancing diplomatic goals with the reality on the ground.
So, with all that said, let me know your thoughts. Do you think this protest will have an impact? Will it change the government's approach to IPOB? Or do you think it will be just another protest that fades into the background? Drop your comments below, like the video if you found this breakdown helpful, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. I'll keep an eye on how this develops and bring you the latest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.